Hey everybody, thanks for joining The Real World Prepper. If you like the content that you see, please click that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you'll be notified every time we upload new content. Now, on with the video.
Down, down, down. Du-du-du-du-du-du. Could you believe it?
Good morning everybody, Real World Prepper, slipping out on a Monday morning to go to work, trying to do it quietly so I don't wake my family up. As you can see, it's still fairly dark out here. I wanted to quickly show you how I travel. You've seen this bag in a previous video. You know what its contents are packed with. Plus, I added the calorie bars that I told you guys about in the bag review in a simple way to start. I've also got, there's a rifle in that bag. There's a bunch of, what is that? Police jackets and just things laying in here. I normally don't ride with this much water, but I'd gone to the store and stocked up, and so I got a little extra. And then my secondary bag, which acts as just a everyday goods. I won't even get into it. There's a secondary firearm in there, sidearm, and my primary, of course, is on my hip. So, okay guys, in this video, I wanted to take advantage of this ride to work to talk about sort of a situational awareness thing. Know your routes. Know your escape route. Know a second one. If we've talked about, in a prior video, we talked about if you're at work, you got to grab your go bag, or wherever you are. If you're out somewhere and you got to grab your go bag and to get to the house, or if you're at the house and you got to grab your go bag to get to wherever you're going, your bug out location, as it were. The fact is, you need to know your route. You need to know a second route, and probably a third. You need to know some routes that you can travel by foot. Now, I don't recommend. I'm not going to say I don't recommend. Let me rephrase this. If you can pull this off, sure, why not? And that is going and trying out your route on foot, finding a foot route. But my thinking to that is, I live in a suburban area that's right on the edge of a very rural area. You wouldn't think it from all the cars going by here right now, but everybody's on their way to work on a Monday. Anyhow, the point of that is the highway that takes me to my work. I literally, the short way, I can go, once I get out of the neighborhood here, I can go take one right, take another right, and I'm there. It's about 10 miles. The route we're going to take today is, it's a secondary route, and it's kind of through some back areas and back roads, 2-lane roads, through the woods, through fields, and mainly through the woods. And it's technically a shorter distance, but it takes you a few minutes longer to get there because you have more little turns. But it's more of a straight line as the crow flies to where I work. The point is, know your routes, because if things break down and you've got to take off and get on out of Dodge, whichever direction you're going out of Dodge, you need to be able to get there quickly. And if there's any anything to stop you. Let me look in this store right quick and we'll talk about this some more. Welcome back. That didn't take long. All right, so anyway, what we were talking about is essentially a part of your situational awareness. You want to be aware of routes. You want to have an escape route, and you want to have another one. And, the point is being able to get home quickly, freely, without encumbrances. And if that fails, if your first route fails, have a secondary. If your secondary route fails, have a third. Little town where I grew up and where I live now is growing and growing and growing and being gentrified, and so here I am at a light that used to not exist. And anyway, not a big deal. So all the more reason to have a plan, to put up preps, to think about what you're going to do, to think about how you're going to generate energy, electricity, to think about how you're going to, what route you're going to take if you've got to, escape from somewhere and get to your house, or if you have to, get from your house to somewhere else. So your routes, you want to, and along these routes, and I was hoping to show you some of this. Well, I don't actually want to show it to you, but I want to say on your routes, you need to know all the nuances of the routes. You need to know, I'll give you an example on the secondary route that I've got, that we're going to take today, that I'm going to fix and ride down the road on. I know at least 3 people personally that live along that route. Now, I didn't plan it that way. I've lived in this area a very long time, most of my life. And so it just so happens that I know about 3 people along this route. I know what fields are unattended and unwatched. I know what businesses to avoid because of security, or I know where the police sit around, and in this town. I actually cross state lines to go to work, and certainly once I get across the state line from my state to the other, it's nothing but country, at least in the area. So there isn't a cop. There are 2 policemen that patrol a very vast area, I'll put it that way. And it's a county area. But anyway, knowing the lay of the land, knowing the all the little things that could be cover, that could be concealment, that could be that could help you, that resources along the way, people somebody that might can lend a helping hand if you needed it. Knowing a place where you can tuck away and spend a couple hours or an overnight if you had to. These are things you need to get familiar with. I want to talk more about situational awareness. Now, this may not be the video for it. I've got so much I want to get back to, so many other topics that I want to cover and touch on, and I think I've talked about some of that. Water purification is one, and talking about more about situational awareness is another. Another one, I'd like to show you some carry options for a sidearm, for concealed carry. At any rate, this one is about knowing your route, having an escape route, and then having another. Or having an escape plan, and then having another. I think that's what we're going to call this video. But listen, I think I may have rambled on enough. The point of this is know your routes. Have a primary, have a secondary, have a third if you can, a thirdary if you can, and know the lay of it. Know what's important on that route. Pay attention to that route. Don't just drive with blinders on. Don't go through life with blinders on. You know, oh, I don't see anything on either side of me. What's going on here? No, you need to be hearing, you need to be seeing, you need to be watching behind you, beside you, everywhere, out in the beyond, everywhere. You know, I said something in an earlier video about once you kind of understand these things, you can't unlearn it. And this is one of those things. I am not sitting here saying I'm Jason Bourne with the situational awareness, because I'm not. I'm, you know, fictional character, of course, but you get the idea. But what I am going to tell you is I am way more the watcher, way more the sheepdog in every way, and my wife will tell you, than I ever have been. And I didn't do this on purpose. This has just been part of the development, just in the process of prepping and thinking about these things. This is what happens. So I encourage you guys, this is a simple real world application is the point. You go to work every day, so why not pay attention? You know, have a plan, have some backups, have your bag, have a plan. This is prepping for the real world, and I am the real world prepper. Thank you. Bye-bye.